and welcome for on the day 2 of Retail Technology Conclave Online 2020. Today, we are going to speak and discuss and deliberate on this very important topic, which is new models of customer engagement in a post-COVID world. I am very happy to introduce this power-packed panel of industry leaders and stalwarts amongst us today. Friends, COVID-19 has created massive shifts in human behavior. Overnight, millions of people were confined to their homes and businesses had to cope with not just distributed workforce, but a whole new type of customer behavior and expectations. The crisis put to test customer trust and confidence, the two pillars of customer loyalty. The lingering fear of infection had put safety over loyalty in the minds of the consumers. This has fundamentally altered how companies have engaged with the customers and how companies are going to engage with the customers. Experts believe that there is another side of the coin as well. It has offered unprecedented opportunities for forward-thinking, customer-focused brands who are going out of their way to use to their advantage and really connect with the consumers this opportunity. We'll ask our esteemed panel what are their views, what innovations, what new technologies, and what change they have brought in their organizations to cope up with this unprecedented crisis. I would start with this first question to Mr. Tushar Bhai Ved of Major Brands. Tushar Bhai, how have retailers, changed their conversation with the customers? If you look at Major Brands, how has Major Brands, accepted this challenge and overcome it? And what are the things that you are doing to answer this unprecedented new normal?
Thank you, Hitesh. Thank you. I'm very glad to be on this esteemed panel. So let me tell you what we have done even during when India was completely closed. Right? We started our conversation within the first week after India shut down. So Mumbai was closed for almost 5 months. Delhi was closed for 2 or 3 months. And Chennai was also closed for a long time. So, the most important thing is what we saw is what to do next with zero sales coming in on the floor. The few things that we did one was online shopping. We accelerated our online business drastically. So whatever stocks we had, we made sure they are available online and the customer is able to see those products online, and we started marketing that. What has also worked during that time is WhatsApp shopping. So customers have been doing WhatsApp shopping. Home shopping. So my team, which was already working with us, but the stores were closed. So we told them that please start calling from your house, call the customer, and they have a list of regular customers, talk to them and see what they need. Our biggest growth came in for Bath and Body Works because it's also a product which you need on a regular basis. Hand cleansers, hand cream, hand wash, shower gels, that did extremely well. The other product that we saw grow was the Beverly Hills Polo Club because t-shirts were there. People are wearing t-shirts and shorts at home, even when you're doing a Zoom call and you might have a jacket on top, but you have shorts underneath. So I think people were even looking at that, and we were even selling that. The thing that was not working is footwear. Sandals were working, were not office wear. And the online shopping, the home shopping, calling the customer at home. Even today, our 40% sales from the retail stores in India come from home shopping. We are calling the customer and saying, what do you need? We do a video call with them from the store, show them the product. We will deliver it home. We'll bring the Visa card machine at home, or please pay me through a digital payment, either Paytm or another one. And please, you can shop, and you can even, we will come home at your time. We can bring 4 products to your house. You can select what you want, and the rest we'll take back. So things like that have really worked well with us.
Okay.
So omni-channel, touchless shopping, and home shopping. Home shopping has been very big.
In fact, the number that you mentioned, 40% of the sales is happening from home shopping. So this is an eye-opener for a retail brand, and all of us are retailers out here. If 40% is happening home shopping, then what's the need for the retail outlets? And these questions have been, arising. But this is something encouraging. It's not that we are replacing offline retail, but I can see a clear trend here that 40% is almost half of the businesses currently coming from home shopping. I would just take this question to Mr. Chandru Karlo and ask him, because his category is something which I think has grown in this pandemic. Sir, if you can throw the light on your category to start with, because certain categories there has been a huge demand, and how is it different or same in your category?
See, the way we approached it was to think right through this lockdown period, the way we were all locked up after 23rd March, and we realized how much cooking we were doing at home because we were not eating out. And the kitchen was actually overused. And to me, that came across as a huge opportunity, because the fact that the entire family was at home, actually getting into the kitchen and home activity, because everyone was locked up. We said, here is something that we can actually use. The second thing was the fear with which we lived during that period. And we said, this is going to kill the moment, even if the lockdown is open, people are not going to be easy about coming. So within the organization, of course, we were very busy making all the SOPs and whatever every organization has done in terms of safety of our employees and everybody else. But then we said, what do we do with this huge trade of ours? Because we are not only franchised or retail or exclusive retail, we are a multi-channel retail company. So we then went into engaging with all the traders in the system digitally, virtually, and shared our thoughts on how the opening can be after the lockdown. We actually decided that all of us will work together towards a certain level of profitability so that they don't undercut each other.
Yeah.
Told them that this is the kind of cost increases that they can expect during this period of opening immediately, because of all the sanitization that they require and all the other practices that they require. They can only serve half or less than half the number of customers at the same time in their stores, etc. So all our SOPs we shared with them. We did all our pre-year activity, which is, the schemes and other things, all digitally through them. And we found that, of course, online was going to be an opportunity. That, like Tushar said, home shopping was going to be really present. And the moment we opened up, that was going to happen. But we said we must protect this large mass of our primary customers, which is our trade. And I think that's something that stood us in good stead. Even today, I know how many people from very small towns were hearing it in their rooms, along with their children, all the things that we were telling them at that point in time. And today, I'm happy to report that our general trade is double-digit growth over last year. For all the months that we have been in operation, I'm not talking about the months we have not been in operation, but the traditional mom and pop store, as we call it, has actually grown for us by double-digit. Of course, online is now from 12% has gone to almost 25% of our business. Unfortunately, the large format retailers have taken time to open because of government regulation, and in spite of all the efforts of RA, we've had problems with intermittent lockdowns and other things. But that part of the business hasn't come up. But I must say, we've been pleasantly surprised post opening up with the business. Probably it's because of all the activity in the kitchen that happened during the lockdown. And even today, I don't see people eating out. So for as long as this lasts, I guess the kitchen is a busy place.
Absolutely, and I'm one of the victims of that. This, and but one thing is that I've also started learning, and not learning, but thoda about, you can say, what cooking is all about. And this has also opened the eyes of many people almost across the globe, that what happens inside the kitchen. So, more on those customer insights. But one thing that has come out clearly is that online has gone from 12% to 25%. So for major brands, it's approximately 40-odd%, and for TTK Prestige, it is close to 25%. Now, same thing, I would go to Venkataraman sir and ask him about his views and his journey till date, and how Titan has, coped up with in the last 4-5 months, sir.
Thank you, Hitesh Bhai. The more people are, spending more time in kitchen, Chandru is happy, but I'm not at all happy, because they are not coming out and wearing, watches and jewelry and sunglasses and all that. But that apart, our overall recovery has been much better than what we thought it would be. And the one big reason for that is we have close to 20,000 sales staff in our exclusive stores across the company formats, from the World of Titan to I+ to Tanishq and all that. And these 20,000 people are, have got a very close relationship with more than, 10 million customers who are part of our loyalty program. And a large part of that they know by name and they know personally. Unlike many other formats which are either self-service or even assisted service, where the customer is not necessarily friends with the sales staff because of the nature of that category. In our case, particularly in jewelry and eyewear, the relationship of the sales staff with the customers is very, very deep. And that has come in very handy. So we have combined technology in the form of CRM, big data and analytics on the one hand, and therefore mined the data, figured out which customer would be ripe for what kind of products at what time there would be a birthday or anniversary in that person's life, and connected that whole thing, which we were anyway doing, but we have done much more now, and connected it back to those 20,000 people. And those 20,000 people reach out to those millions of customers, reassuring them about the safety, of course, but equally marketing the products that we have. So even though there is no intrinsic need today when you're sitting at home, like Tushar was saying, people are wearing shorts, therefore why would they buy trousers? Why would they buy shoes, right? And why would they buy their next watch? Because you're not even wearing a watch maybe at home. But we need to make them want to buy a watch. And therefore, how do we push collections, new products to them through this relationship? So that has worked substantially for us and lifted our performance beyond what we thought was possible. And lastly, even something like video demonstration. We have done in Tanishq more than 100 crores of sales through video, where people have bought 10 lakh rupee worth necklaces.
Wow.
Through video. Only thing is, in many cases, they come to the store for just the picking up of the product and making the payment. But the entire shortlisting, looking at 10 necklaces before finalizing one necklace, all that has been done on video with the salesperson that they know. They've known for years, and therefore there is a lot of trust there. But and so that they don't have to spend the 2 hours in the store and expose themselves to whatever risk, but still come in 10-15 minutes at an appointed time to close the deal, pick up the piece and go. So it has dramatically reduced the time in the store and helped them in a way feel safe, and helped us to make the sale without them spending to us.
So a follow-up question with you on this, Mr. Venkataraman, is so what kind of jewelry is bought online? And because here you mentioned one figure, and that may be an odd example of 10 lakhs, but ideally, is there a benchmark or is there a limit that only up to X thousands or lakh is where the consumer is buying online, and is not going for a high value item for online or a video demonstrated sale?
No, video is different, but online, the ballpark is in the 15-20,000 rupee average is online.
Okay. 15-20%, yeah. Okay.
No, 15-20,000 rupees.
Oh, 15 to 20,000 rupees. I'm sorry.
Ticket
So
size.
that is the ticket size that people buy online.
Correct.
And when you mentioned about this video demonstration, this is something which is, which is very exciting to know, that India has so many jewelers. I mean, India believes in gold and jewelry. So how much successful has this model been? And here I can see a new business model of selling through videos in the coming days and years, and maybe a full-fledged organized way of, even today it is organized, but what I mean is more accepted amongst the jeweler community in the coming days and the months and the years.
Very much possible, and it is working on top of a pre-existing relationship between the salesperson and the customer. And I'm sure the industry in general has that. Other jewelers also will have that relationship. So it has to be built on top of that relationship. It cannot be a cold call.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, thanks for that. And you said the online sales is around 15 to 20%. That's what your online sales.
I said the average ticket size online is 15 to 20,000 rupees.
Okay, and what would be your online sales, Mr. Venkataraman, percentage-wise?
Very small.
Okay, very small.
Because we are a 1 lakh rupee brand.
Yeah.
And the average is 15, 20,000. But in Carrot Lane, which is one of our brands, the share is very, very high.
Oh, that's good. So thank you for that. I would now move to Mr. Sandeep Kataria and ask him about his views and what Bata has done. Everybody here in their lifetime have worn a Bata shoe and are also wearing a Bata shoe. So, Mr. Kataria, how has Bata, coped up with this situation, and what is it that you have done to ensure that the consumer stays with you and comes back for shopping?
So, Hitesh, I think as we started to unlock, the first challenge was to make sure that the teams and all consumers actually felt safe coming back into the stores. And I must say it was in that order. You need to make sure the teams are safe, they feel confident, and then the consumers feel confident to come back into the stores. And therefore, there was a full training process that we had to go through in 11 languages, making sure, and all of this was happening online, given that none of us could actually travel. So that had to be really rigorously implemented to make sure that we were able to do that, and then communicate that to our consumers to ensure that they felt safe about it. And that is something which we've then rigorously followed as we've gone forward. Even simple things like if somebody came into the store and tried the shoe, we decided we were going to quarantine that shoe for 72 hours before we would bring it back for a trial for anybody else. So it was kept aside. Closed shoes were therefore kept aside for 72 hours. So things like that had to be therefore implemented. But I guess given the topic of our whole seminar, let me talk a little bit about how the technology part we've really taken on. So the way like all of us, we've had a e-commerce business which has been growing steadily directly through Bata.in, but also through the horizontal marketplaces which are there prevalent in the country. For us, the challenge was that given Bata caters to a very large audience, all the way from infants to 100-year-old our elderly people, it was important that we were able to reach out to them on the digital way, in a way that was conducive and right for them. So we separated the target segments out and said there is one which is the digital native, which we know will come through Bata.in, which will come through the marketplaces. For them, it was important that we are able to get new features, technology which allows them to get the fit and the right choice the first time. So we introduced a feature on our Bata.in, for example, called Find My Size, which allows you in your own house using your smartphone, get an absolute accurate measure of your shoe size and what Bata size would fit you, so that you were able to be comfortable getting it in the first place itself. And then, of course, the whole assortment going much higher than we had. So we've always, over the last year and a half, connected all our stores to Bata.in, but we took that further and also to the marketplaces, so that all our consumers were able to get a much larger assortment of shoes that they may not have earlier stocked on our websites. The second segment was the digital adopter. People who are not quite comfortable to order online, use their credit card details or a payment wallet, but have now over time, over the last couple of years, become very comfortable with using things like WhatsApp. Yeah, social media are very, very comfortable, not yet into into digital e-commerce. So for these people was an ability to use WhatsApp to be able to chat with our store managers, to be able to really connect with them, go onto a video, as Mr. Venkat was saying, get onto a video to be able to identify the particular footwear shoe that they wanted, and then give us the address to the store manager, take his advice. Very often that becomes important. Have a look at my shoe, shape, what size will really fit me, what is my girth, the length, size, maybe a lot of us know, but what is the girth, what will fit me right? All that discussion which could happen over a video call with the store manager, and then a delivery at home, at which point in time the payment and the transaction could happen completely contactless, but at least when the person had the footwear in their hand. So that was the second set of people. And then there was a third set of people who were really, we believe, digital novices, where you really need to assist them to be able to purchase. And this is came through in two parts. We realized that families were not really coming out in a big way, right? Either into our stores, and surely the youngsters, the kids and the elderly were being advised not to leave their condominiums and their houses. So we said, okay, then let's go to them. And that's where the idea of the Bata kiosk store on wheels was born. And we said we started off initially carrying a lot of footwear to be aimed at the youngsters, that below 12 and the elderly. But when we were there, we realized that actually it was not just these two target segments which wanted. And even here, what they wanted was very often much more than just the chappals and sandals which we had initially carried. And this is where the idea of digital assistance came in. So for these novices, we had all our teams carried tabs with them, and using the tabs, they were able to share the assortment, advice. People were able to try out the sizes using the footwear we had on the kiosk, but then choose using the endless aisle opportunity on their tabs, and then order to be delivered overnight to them. So really catering to as many target audiences and as many needs as we could come through. So even though the digital business has continued to, the real e-commerce business has continued to be steady and move up a little bit, these two channels have added up quite significantly to our sell-through.
Sure. So that one is the store on wheels, and other is the e-commerce thing that you are speaking
the chat shop, based, WhatsApp
awesome.
Based.
So thanks for that, Mr. Kataria. Shaleen, my next question is for you. We have heard our four esteemed panelists speak about the digital part of it, and let me ask you from a Microsoft perspective, or how digital transformation, how retailers globally, or maybe in India as well, you can give an example, or you can give what is happening as far as digital transformation with the retailers across in a gist, if you can share some light there, that how the retailers are coping up with this phenomenon of digital transformation. Shaleen? Yeah, Shaleen, am I audible? I think Shaleen has just dropped.
He is logged off or dropped off. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. We will please message when Shaleen comes in. In the meantime, I'm going to take this question to Tushar bhai when we talk about global things. Tushar bhai, you are sitting in Dubai right now.
That's correct.
Yeah, and how is the customer interaction and the consumer behavior different between India and Dubai at this stage? And from the retailer's perspective also, how do you see the shopping happening there? If you can throw some light, because that's where is something new that is happening with the customer engagement as far as Dubai is concerned.
So, I'm currently in Dubai. I've been here for last 2 months. And one thing I can tell you that the food restaurants, a lot of them are almost back to normal. I've been to restaurants and there's a waiting list. They do have the social distancing. So some of the tables are kept empty. Hygiene level are very, very high here. And the government is also very strict here. When it comes to somebody not following it, they shut down the restaurant or the stores. When it comes to customers in the shopping malls and retail shopping, what we have seen is it's always the first month where it was slow. Currently, the business in the non-tourist mall are 80% of last year. So if you're doing 100, we are doing 80 now. But where there are tourists, malls which are dependent on tourists in Dubai, there we have seen a 50% business because the tourists are not there. The other shopping habits changes that we have seen, I've spoken about this before also, we still see that happening. In GCC as a group, we operate total 1800 stores. More than 1200 stores are based in GCC, which includes Saudi and Dubai, Qatar. We do a lot of different 75 brands. And one thing that we saw is we ran out of coffee machines. So coffee machines were short in supply and we couldn't get it. Then the other thing that we are seeing is again t-shirts. One thing I can tell you that we don't do cycling, but we do cycling t-shirts and shorts in the footwear brands that we do. And you see a lot of people exercising because they have a lot of free time. So a lot of exercise material growing. The other thing that we have seen is a lot of growth in the home shopping category. You're sitting at home watching your curtains torn for last 2 years, or you don't like the color anymore, you want to change it. Home office, home decoration, coffee machines, baking goods, slippers, sandals, swimming shorts. Office wear is still very low, but what we are seeing in office wear now is that a lot of people are doing this at leisure. So before it was the IT companies started this trend of wearing a denim and a t-shirt to office, right? And now I think that is also going to accept maybe for the banking or certain industries. I think a lot of industries are adopting or accepting the at leisure wear in the office. So you can wear a sports shoes and go to office with a denim or a nice t-shirt. I think that we are seeing a change in that. Also, what we have seen, a lot of people are not trying the products. So we also had in the beginning the trials rooms to be closed. So the trials were not happening, but they were happy to pick it up, the product, because they were confident and they were very loyal to that particular brand. Back to school has just started in Dubai. So we are seeing a lot of pickup for school. And and there's a good pent-up demand. People also in the beginning picked up a lot more product because they had not bought for 3 months, and I think they ran out of it or they wanted. The last thing I would like to tell you is what trend we are seeing is sunglasses, not sunglasses, but I would say mask, anything that looks good on Zoom or Instagram. So your top, your t-shirt, your footwear you can't see on the Zoom. So if you have sunglasses, headphones, people are buying nice t-shirts, all that is happening. We're seeing a lot of trend of that. So you're selling more t-shirts than bottoms now, or more shirts than bottoms, basically for Zoom to look nice. Makeup also. So we are seeing a very big pickup in makeup.
Thank you, Tushar. Thank you, Tushar bhai. Shaleen, this question was for you, and we are talking about digital transformation. Tushar bhai just mentioned he has around 1800 odd stores in the Gulf region, and he has given the example of how shopping and what percentages and what categories are working out there. From a digital transformation perspective, can you give a example or what globally what is happening as far as digital transformation is concerned, Shaleen?
Hey, thanks a lot, Hitesh, for having me, and I'm sorry, got a bit stuck. So, Hitesh, on this specific area, one of the things that, and obviously, digital transformation was a journey that many organizations globally had already started. COVID actually has accelerated that entire momentum, also disrupted certain thought process and beliefs as well. So the definition of what digital transformation, probably what it was 6-8 months back, I think that definition has also gone under a bit of a shift, considering the situation that we are in and considering the uncertainty in terms of time that it may take to get back to normal. And that normal will be very different from, and we all understand, right, that normal will not be what the normal was earlier. So the definition of transformation also changed. And considering this whole journey or experiences that every organization was going through, we being part of almost like a surface or a backbone for most of the transformation, customers globally started to reach out to us and get onto the drawing board again. How do we restructure, realign our transformation definition and get back on the business stronger? And one of the things, and I would say rather a couple of things that came out as common across those conversations. One was that consolidation is important today to get the newly defined transformation in place. When I say consolidation, it is not about get everything into one system or something. It is a thing consolidated and then spread across. So we can't live with multiple siloed platforms all through. And that's where the definition of transformation as far as data is concerned, as far as analytics is concerned, and then what do you do with analytics, generating insights is concerned, and then taking action on top of that. So the definition of transformation, people said that consolidation is the first step towards that transformation that can happen. Second thing that we started shaping up is that there was this convergence, probably what we can say, of applications and technologies getting toyed along and used either ways. And people started defining what technology should do to enable application act better to serve my customers all the more ahead, right? What technology can do to bring more productivity in people that are interacting with my customers to make it as seamless. And we have all been talking about in this panel itself, I've been talking about these things only. So that's another area that we are seeing in that transformation journey, bringing technology at the center of the core and then creating that entire life cycle surrounding that, whether it is application, whether it is devices, whether it is experience for customers, people, and product, is how people have started drawing board. And this, we are seeing this all in mature developed countries, as well as progressive retailers in developing countries as well.
Sure. Thank you, Shaleen. I want to take this point that Tushar bhai mentioned about you being seen on Zoom and Insta, and so that is where somewhat the customer mindset is moving towards that. You have to be seen. Ultimately, we are looking at brands that are not able to match up with their numbers or sales, is because obviously the people are not going out and socializing, etc. is not happening. So this question particularly is about opportunities and threats, and not threat per se, but then what issues or how can you challenge, what are the challenges that are being faced today. Here I can see two brands, and even Tushar by your brand also, but mostly from Titan perspective and Bata perspective, that since people are not going out, this is whether it's eyewear or jewelry or footwear and many other things, also formal wear for that matter. We are not going out and socializing is not there. So this is a challenge that is there for each and every retailer today, except for in our panel we have got Mr. Chandru from TTK Prestige. He may not have that challenge because that is something which is an imperative for all of us to consume. But from a Titan and a Bata perspective, sir, we'll start with Mr. Venkataraman. How do we overcome this challenge? And if this is, and what according to you do you see this challenge to be there for a longer time? How long it will be there?
So the challenge is going to be there for as long as we are all not inoculated against this. and all of us are being advised to stay at home as much as possible. And most companies are declaring till December 31st, till March 31st, till June 30th, we're going to work from home kind of thing. Okay. So therefore that challenge is a reasonably long challenge. But what we're also understanding is, I don't know how much you have experienced, all of you have experienced this, but on any Zoom call, for example, within the office, we typically find a lot of people with their video mute. Okay. And when we push them to unmute the video, they sheepishly do that. And then we discover that they're often, they've not shaved, or they're wearing an old t-shirt, and they're sheepishly declaring themselves in that way. But we tell them, actually, don't worry. We are not evaluating by the t-shirt you wear or how clean shaven you are. We are evaluating you by the work you bring to the table. That's all, right? But nevertheless, we are realizing that a lot of people are actually not feeling too good dressing up that way for working from home. So therefore, can we create an alternate reality inside the home where you actually dress up? You shave, you wear good clothes, maybe shorts, yes, but you wear a good shirt and everything and sit in front of the Zoom as if you're going to work. So can we promote that? Now, one of the things, for example, our design departments are working is what we call above the keyboard dressing. So how can we create products of Titan company? So for example, jewelry which is appropriate for work from home, but above the keyboard dressing. What is a smart pendant or earrings that you may not wear a elaborate necklace, but you can wear a 1 lakh rupee pendant which is very smart, which shows up on the Zoom call. So therefore, we need to both innovate on products to align with what habits are changing. At the same time, in a way, make people want to dress up for working from home. Why can't you wear a lipstick and sit in front of the laptop instead of not wearing a lipstick? Why can't you use your skin perfume of Titan after your shower instead of just using some low-priced deo just because you're not going out to office? Why can't you use the same skin perfume and sit in front? Why can't you wear your smart, watch and sit in front? So that we are encouraging our teams to think about it like that and create marketing material to influence people to behave, work from home in the same way as work from office. So that the demand for products that we sell and what Tushar sells and what Mr. Kataria sells, there is demand for products of our type, and not only Chandru's products.
So product innovation. For marketing. Yes, I think this is again one of the things of the new normal that the brands have to cope up with and accept the challenge and take it to face the bull head on and take the challenge. I think all the segments that you mentioned, I mean, you spoke about jewelry, you spoke about perfume, you spoke about so even the eyewear, why not, and the pendant stuff like that. So all these things are a part of it. And Tushar Bhai also mentioned about the dressing part that is required for home dressing. The same question goes to Mr. Kataria. Sir, how are you looking at these challenges?
I think, Hitesh, the fact is that consumer preferences are changing. And I think all good marketers, manufacturers must first of all realize that. And then make sure that we are listening very, very carefully to what consumers are asking for or moving to. To give you just an example, as the unlock happened, there was a lot of demand. I might even say pent-up demand for slippers and chappals, which people had, unfortunately, they do break. They have a life and they do break. And it was important for us to supply that because supply chains were not fully up for everybody. We suddenly saw a huge amount of pent-up demand, and we were running our factories 3 days a week, 3 shifts round the clock, 7 days a week to make that kind of product. Whereas our black and brown office shoes were really not selling as much or selling almost very, very little. As we've gone along, we've also discovered that there's a shift towards the casual from more formal. I think Tushar mentioned that. We've also realizing how much more of the fitness is in demand. So for the youngsters, closed shoes, sporty shoes, sneakers, for them to stay fit. And also for the elderly, a slip-on, a nice walking shoe are in demand. And therefore, how do we make that available to them in the right assortment, in the right colors, etc. But of course, another one which opened up for us was masks. When we were reaching out to consumers in their homes or whenever they were coming in, there clearly was a need for that kind of merchandise. And therefore, I think it's important to listen to it. One big success for us, Hitesh, was a fully washable collection, because people had hesitation, when they went out and there were worries in their minds about what they may bring home. The washable collection, which we launched and really marketed to fully show the full assortment, was a big hit. And people saying, okay, this gives me comfort. As soon as I walk in home, I'm able to wash it off completely and fully. So I think the idea here really is to be able to listen, to hear what the consumer is asking for, what the trends are telling us, and then react to that. While this was going on, there were a few weddings which happened, especially in Bihar and UP. There was that they had some good, dates. And we realized that we had to make sure that we had the right footwear, which was not quite required in February and March, but was now required in August to be available. So the supply side has to be even more agile than it has ever been to be able to address such demands.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kataria. Chandru sir, this question as a challenge is applicable to you also. Maybe the answer may be different, is what I assume. But in your case, what were the challenges? I'm not talking about those challenges, just from the customer perspective, and how have you communicated through these challenges?
So for us, first of all, it was very important to get our after-sales service up and running, as soon as the unlock happened. Because remember, with the kitchens being used the way they are, somebody's pressure cooker gasket is not there, somebody's other appliance is not working, etc., etc. So we actually did a lot of stuff to keep all our key markets well prepared for the opening. In fact, on the 7th day of the lockdown, we set up a full-fledged call center agent group from home to give help from home wherever they could, advise customers to fix the problem on a DIY basis if there was a problem. Otherwise, we registered those complaints. And that went a long way, actually, because people suddenly felt very, very reassured that they were dealing with a brand which cared for them in a time like this. Of course, as soon as we opened, we launched an exchange scheme where you could return any product from the kitchen and buy anything. So that was a different promotion which did very well this time, because it was very timely at that point in time. But I agree with you, no good story can last forever. We are also doing all kinds of things to make people engaged in the kitchen. The habit of the whole family contributing to the kitchen, I think, is now coming. And if this corona stays for 12 months, I think it will become a permanent habit. Baking suddenly in India has become a national pastime. So anything to do with baking these days is, doing very well, or anything to do with convenience to help the man of the house, say, chop onions, for example, while the lady of the house is doing something, So a lot of products we are bringing out for convenience, for time saving, because work from home, believe it or not, is actually more pressure if the lady of the house is also working from home. Because she's now got to have an overused kitchen while she's attending to things from the office. So she needs help. She needs, her family needs help to contribute to make things happen. So they are opening up a host of opportunities. Like Mr. Kataria said, the whole idea is to listen, to see what is happening in the kitchen and actually provide, and home. I mean, for example, something like a fruit and vegetable cleaner, what we were selling in a year, we sold in 2 months. Suddenly this whole, sanitization became a very big thing for everything. I mean, people are frightened at this point in time. But we want to make sure we get into categories that are sustainable. We want to make sure that we get into categories where we can actually add value. We don't want to launch gimmicks. We are very clear. This is not an opportunistic kind of thing. And I think the brand is doing everything to be seen in that light. And as we go, we will try and enhance convenience, enhance everything that has to do with health as we go along. And as the channels are all opening up now, we are seeing that things are getting back to normal. And probably kitchen as a share of wallet today is getting more than what it used to get pre-COVID. I don't know how it will last, but I think that's surely, because they're not spending on going out, they're not going on holidays, they're not going for movies. So all of that is probably giving a little bit higher disposable income to invest in the kitchen and all.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Karlo. Shaleen, how do you see commerce in the COVID world now? You know, it's a one-liner, but I think you can share some light on commerce in the COVID world. You are muted, Shaleen. Yeah.
So sorry for that. So Hitesh, an interesting one again, because this was something again which was in play for long, and commerce has just accelerated during this piece, but that physical element has not gone off, right? For marketplaces, for certain products, buying online for a certain period is okay. But what commerce has also done is that how do I still personalize or have that experience like a store when I am online, right? So when I go to the store, I generally have something in my mind that I wanted to buy something which was looking like this. How do I do that in commerce, right? In store, at least you go and physically see those 10 products and say that, yes, this was on something that I was looking at. So things like search by look. So building in AI, embedding AI into it and getting that search by look. So just upload a photographs and then from your catalog, it pulls out and say that which is the nearest like in your catalog and present those options, bring in AI to recommend based on those personalizations that you get in. Second thing was, in case things like I'm not able to walk to the store, but there are people sitting at store. And I was hearing there are scenarios of video calling happening. Video calling is a one-on-one call, but we are bringing in mixed reality into this experience so that that interaction stays over a period of time. It may happen that customer will not buy during that interaction, but you can still, through mixed reality, whatever was transacted or whatever transpired during those interactions, you can actually annotate and have that all stuff and send it back to the customer so that customer can then at leisure have a look at that and then again come back, probably buy online, coming to your website. So that element of bringing mixed reality into play to deliver that personalization that customers were not able to get. And these are something that were primarily on labs or something that was not coming out 8 months back, 6 months back. But retailers, customers have pushed us hard. And these things are something that are available right away as mobile app, integrated with commerce, sitting on the same structure, and then having that entire interaction going through. So a lot of these things are something that are enabling that commerce taking the actual shape. So we had those things like buy online, come and pick up from the store, right? That was one scenario. No one is coming to the store to pick up, right? How do you pick up at the curbside? Buy online or browse online and then engage with the customer, with the store to buy that. That entire life cycle wherein bringing commerce, bringing physical store, but embedding mixed reality inside that and covering that entire journey is how we are seeing certain nuances of commerce taking a bit of a different shape as we progress ahead. And these will be, as I said, AI getting on the forefront now. Search by look is one example that I gave, but there are many such scenarios that are getting embedded and we are being pushed by organizations like the ones which are in this panel to think and support them into this journey.
Okay, thank you, Shaleen. I am going to ask our esteemed panels to summarize their viewpoints and, in 2 lines, 3 lines, what is the future and what is it that needs to be done and what is the future of customer engagement for these new models. Before that, I would request Shiv Joshi that he can, select 2 questions and ask our panelists after they have given their, overview, the final words that they feel is the future of customer engagement. And then we'll ask these 2 questions, Shiv Joshi, to our panelists, and then we'll have to close the webinar because we are coming to the fag end of it. I think around 10-12 minutes are left. So I would start with Mr. Venkataraman and take his final views.
Thank you. I think apart from listening to customers, one of the things that we are realizing is we need to perceive things on behalf of customers or the public that they are not able to see themselves today because of the intense pressure that, for example, what Chandru was talking about, working women working from home today, and the pressures they are going under. Some of it, we need to perceive that, we need to infer what they're going through, and therefore innovate not merely by listening, but also by observing and perceiving.
Thank you. Thank you, Venkat sir. Tushar bhai, what about you?
There will be a change, but every change will bring something new. And I will give one example that I heard on a call saying that after World War II, a lot of women during World War II went into the workforce because the men were fighting and the women were helping manufacture aircraft. So there'll be big changes coming in the workforce. There'll be a big change in technology, but one thing I believe will always remain is a human touch. So there has to be some kind of a customer engagement with a human being behind it. Yes, AI will be there, but AI is still not advanced today to understand the customer emotion. And to give an example, when you come to the store or our retail store or any retail store, we can engage you, we can change the environment. Means I can have a music playing, I can have perfume, I can have the customer reacting to your emotions when they see you face to face. What mood are you in shop to buy? Why are you buying it? I can't do that when you're buying online today because I don't know you're buying at 2 in the night, buying at 4 in the morning, or you're buying after a fight. I can't judge that. The computer is doing that. So I believe long term, there'll be large changes happening, but the human touch and the customer engagement with a real human being will be there at some point. I don't know what that point is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chandru sir, your views, please.
Well, I think this pandemic, unfortunately, is there, at least like Venkat said, that till we are all vaccinated, it is not going to go. Like it's going to be there for at least the next 6 months. If we are going to be stuck with this kind of a situation for 1 year, let me assure you there are many habits that will stick. Because for 1 year, you are going to be stuck with this kind of a situation. What I think we are doing, in addition to what both the panelists said, is that we as brands must be now more and more flexible, more and more innovative, and more ready to change a plan. And not just say, okay, I made this plan, I'm going to stick to this. The need to be flexible and agile has become very, very high. I'm also seeing trends of people across the value chain innovating. I mean, many of our retailers today are having their own Facebook pages. They are having their own unboxed videos. These are mom and pop stores. They're doing some fantastic work. They're doing assisted commerce on their own. We are, of course, assisting some of them. But the kind of change that this is bringing, it's going to stay. I'm seeing a very positive world at the end of this whole thing. I mean, this is, of course, going to leave a scar on the economy and many jobs. We still don't know what the impact of the number of job losses that has happened. Probably we haven't yet faced that situation yet. But at the end of this, we will be a more agile, a more digitally enabled world. Earlier, digital was nice to have. I think today it is essential to have. The speed of implementation only has to go up. So a lot of things will change, but the human innovation spirit is what will decide who is winning and who is losing.
Human innovation spirit will decide who wins, who loses. Sandeep sir, your views, please.
Hitesh, not much to add. I must say, the learned panel has actually covered quite a lot of piece. I'll just leave it with one thought, that when the consumers are going through what we are, I think the ability for them to be able to trust brands is going to be even higher than it ever was. So it's important for brands to do things which only enhance that level of trust, go that little extra mile, listen, make that little bit more of a extra effort to cater to their demands and continue to build the trust. This is not going to last forever, like nothing does. And as we come to the other side, all the productivity measures, etc., that we've all taken will only work and come really handy for us if the trust with consumers has been continued to be built over time.
Sure, totally agree, Sandeep sir. Shaleen, your final take on this, please.
So I would put it this way, that initial part of this pandemic was a bit of a nervous phase when we just rushed into it. It requires for a pause, because it is going to stay, and then this also gives, as everyone said, an opportunity as well. So that redrafting of the opportunity with that vision, if we think through and start planning ourselves, will be one good thing that that can happen. And obviously we are all there to contribute from our side as far as technology is concerned, but leaders will have to show us which way they want to head into, and we will then all be there. But yeah, that pause is something, and that redrafting of future strategy will be very important, is what I feel.
Okay, thank you. Shiv, do we have the questions, please?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Good evening. I will, since there is paucity of time, I'll just ask one question, which is, which kind of engagement do customers respond to the most in terms of digital? I mean, right now.
We can start with Tushar bhai. Which kind of engagement do the customers respond to the most?
See, very specific. What we have seen is the WhatsApp.
Okay.
Is working extremely well with the staff calling them and showing them the products, sending them photographs. That has worked extremely well for us.
Okay.
That's the easiest form and the cheapest form to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tushar bhai. Venkat sir, please, your views.
Same, Hitesh bhai. WhatsApp.
Oh, WhatsApp. Sandeep sir.
Besides WhatsApp piece, I think engagement-wise, it always needs to be insightful. You can't just be blaring, loudly and just banging on and on. It has to be finally built on insight. And so, going back to what I was earlier saying, we need to be listening.
Listening.
Consumers are changing. There's no point in me trying to sell office shoes when the demand is for something else. So engagement when it's insightful and to the demand is best.
Yeah, agree, sir. Chandru sir.
I think WhatsApp is quite effective, but I think more than anything else, it's the relevance of the type of situation for the customer. I mean, the consumer is very happy to even engage in a phone call. We have seen many of our retailers today are actually doing a lot of work on a normal audio phone call with their customers, and anything that can take away the pain standing in their shop for a long time. In fact, one thing you will see common today is all retailers tell you that people predisposed, they buy and quickly go away. They don't spend time in the store. So anything that will help them browse, anything that will help them take a decision, I think is the engagement they're looking for.
Anything that helps them browse and take a decision. Yeah. Shaleen, what about you?
I would say anything digital. It depends on the category, and it also depends on the persona of the customer. People who are a bit elderly, analog call, doing on the call, that might be a better way. People who are younger might be doing it over any social media channel would be better. Mid-size, mid-age, etc., mobile app, anything that is digital or engaging will definitely make this take this ahead for sure.
Thank you. So we did hear some good words out here as a final call, and the final, the views that we got. Listening as a communication. So listening is something which is very important to communicate. Perceiveness. So perception is something. Flexibility, agility, empathy, and trust in the brand. I think these are some of the pillars that will define the customer engagement models for this new normal. Apart from where digital overall and WhatsApp has been one of the key instruments or platforms that brands are adopting to communicate and engage with the customers, and we have seen a rise in the digital front overall. So I think we have just bang on time. We have just completed our session. There are many more questions. We have got at least 80 to 90 odd questions with us, both online as well as offline combined together. And I would take this opportunity to thank all our panelists. Thank you, Venkat sir, Chandru sir, Sandeep sir, Tushar bhai, and Shaleen. For making this a very, very insightful session. We all have thoroughly enjoyed. We'll again keep meeting in the near future and take your inputs. Thank you very much.